We're going to create an equation of a line when we're given a slope and another point that's on the line. So recall that an equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, where m, the coefficient in front of the x, that's the number in front of the x, is our slope, and our slope is rise over run. And b represents the y-intercept. The variables y and x will represent any point that's on the graph, any coordinate, and coordinates are in the form x, y. So if we're given the slope and another point, we can use that information to plug it into our original equation, y equals mx plus b. M is equal to 2, and this point 4 and 4, that's just x and y. So we can plug those into the equation, and when we do that, it'll look like this. 4 equals 2 times 4 plus b. So we don't know what b is, we don't know what our y-intercept is, but we're going to use this information to solve for b. So this is just an equation that we need to solve. We can do this multiplication, so 2 times 4 is 8, so this just becomes 4 equals 8 plus b, and to get b on its own, we need to subtract 8. So if we subtract 8 from both sides, we're going to get that b is equal to negative 4. So now that we've solved for b, we can write out our equation because all we really need is the slope and the y-intercept to write out the equation of this line. So our equation would be y equals 2x minus 4. And don't forget to leave y and x as is because that'll represent any point that's on the line. So now it's your turn to try the next question. The slope here is negative 1 and it passes through the point 3 and 7. So pause the video, create your equation of the line, and come back to check your answer. So after plugging in this point and our slope into the equation of a line, you should get that b is equal to a positive 10. So that's our y-intercept. So putting in our slope and our y-intercept into our equation of this line is equal to y equals negative x plus 10. And you might have written a negative 1 in front of the x. That is exactly the same and it's totally fine. So let's do this one as well. Find the equation of a line given the slope m equals 0 and 1 point on the line, negative 2 and negative 5. So we know that this is our slope, m is equal to 0, and our point, this is x and y. And we have our equation y equals mx plus b. We just need to put those two things into our equation. So y is negative 5. M, our slope, is 0. I'll put that in brackets because it's being multiplied by x, and x is negative 2. And we leave that plus b there. 0 times negative 2 is just 0 because anything multiplied by 0 is just 0. So we're going to be left with negative 5 equals 0 plus b, and we don't need that 0 there. So b is really just equal to negative 5. So using our y-intercept and our slope to create our equation, it's going to be y equals 0x minus 5. And this 0 times x here, well, we actually don't need that there because whatever x might be, it's always going to be equal to 0 because 0 times any x will be 0. So we don't need that there. We can just use this equation y equals negative 5. And if we were to graph that, this is x and this is y, the line would be just down here if this is where negative 5 is. So it would just be a horizontal line. And no matter what x might be, y is always going to be equal to negative 5.